Donald, you and I have discussed this so many times that they're avoiding the obvious chaos that it could still result from them not taking this action and applying Donald Trump's disqualification pre him getting possibly elected. But they said this, which I just found so contradictory, granted that they were making this whole argument, it seemed, throughout the order, that Congress had to enact legislation to enforce Section 3. They said the disruption would be all the more acute and could nullify the votes of millions and change the election result if Section 3 enforcement were attempted after the nation has voted. Nothing in the Constitution requires that we endure such chaos, arriving at any time or different times up to and perhaps beyond the inauguration. I mean, the lack of awareness to me was just breathtaking. Were they not there on January 6th? And are they in fact saying Congress should enforce, but no, really at no time do we actually want Congress to enforce?
Yeah, I mean that's the rub. It both fails to acknowledge exactly how we got here, which is that a president tried to incite a violent mob targeted on January 6th to overturn a free and fair election, but also it reads language into Section 3 that's not there, and tries to both kick the can to Congress without reaching the obvious conclusion, which is that by kicking the can to Congress, you once again put a target on January 6th, which is, to get back to the beginning, how we got here. And so, this is why I think your term of pretzel or my term of strained is accurate. To be honest with you, it reinforces for me that the easiest thing to do, the thing to provide the most clarity, would have been to disqualify Donald Trump. It also would have been consistent with the law and the facts. But there is going to be chaos. There is likely to be chaos. In part because Donald Trump refuses to accept the results of free and fair elections. So the idea that there's going to be more chaos in one situation versus the other is belied by that fact, but also what Secretary Griswold has repeatedly asked for, what our clients have repeatedly asked for, and what Section 3 ruling in favor of our clients and vindicating Section 3 would have provided is clarity. The clarity that an oath-breaking insurrectionist cannot hold office as president and thus cannot run for president in Colorado and elsewhere. That would have answered these questions and provided the clarity that is certainly lacking in this decision.
You agree, Krista?
I definitely agree, and I'm also when I read the concurring decisions, I thought it was very important that they acknowledged that the majority was reading something in that was not there, and that Congress has to act. And the interesting thing about Congress is that when they had a chance to act, they didn't, and that Congress is a very partisan entity, in contrast to the effort among the litigants and our lawyers, a mix of Republicans, Democrats, and independents, who were and are concerned about our democracy and making sure that we have elections and that only those who are eligible under the Constitution appear on the ballot. They took it from a bipartisan group, essentially kind of a nonpartisan group, and said the only one that has a responsibility for this section is an entity that is highly partisan, who failed to do their duty in the first place.